Childhood Jesus 5. Is Mary the new Ark of the Covenant? The Virgin Mary during her pregnancy, is she the new Ark of the Covenant? So it must be said that to look at Mary there are two aspects. The first aspect is the spiritual aspect. It is He who is essential. Mary Immaculate Conception was faithful to God even in the worst temptations coming from Lucifer, and for the first time, a human creature resisted that mighty angel who had Eve stumbled in 2 minutes, who as an adult faced Mary who would be like a child of 2 or 3 years old. But she remained in contemplation. So what characterizes Mary in her soul is that she does only the will of God, only. It is given to God according to the commandment He has given. It puts first love of God and neighbor, and humility. It is not worthwhile to tell her she is all humble. She never looked at herself, as her trouble proves, when the angel said to her, "You are full of graces." She even wonders who this greeting is for. This spiritual aspect is so strong that God decides to realize it in His flesh, to signify it, but it is real, but also to come to earth. This is why Jesus says at one point, "Who is my Father, who is my mother, who does the will of my Father?" Some Protestants say, "See, it's a criticism of Mary." But it's the most beautiful compliment to Mary. It does only the will of the Father, and that is why, what will happen in His body, is important, because it means that which is a fact in His soul. So it carries in it, really the person of the Word incarnate, and there, physically one can thus say that it is the new Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle of God. Let's first remember what this ancient Ark of the Covenant is. It is Moses who receives the command of God to make a chest, to gild it, and to put on top 2 cherubim represented, who lean over the arch. Inside the ark he puts 3 things, said the Bible. A little of the manna, which had fed the Hebrew people in the wilderness, and 2 tablets of the law which had been carved by Moses, and the staff of Aaron the priest. That stick that once had been planted in the ground and it had bloomed. It is to signify the power of God. Moreover, God actually lived in the Ark of the Covenant. He lived there to the point that it was located in the heart of the Holy of Holies of the temple, when the temple was built later, at the time of Solomon. So, what does Mary's belly contain in her pregnancy? And indeed, the real presence of the Word made flesh. This is the first thing. But what are the other 3 things that were present in the Ark of the Covenant? The staff of Aaron means that the Virgin City Hall, but also her son, are totally in obedience to the authority of God. This stick would represent as the theological virtue of hope for the Virgin Mary. She saw only that, since the shepherd of Israel led the people to the promised land, in the same way his staff signifies the hope that leads to the paradise. Mary feeds only on manna. Manna means the presence of God, deep, in the heart of men. It is symbolized now, it is realized now in the New Testament by the Eucharist. The presence of the manna is like charity, this reciprocal love that Mary lives with God in the Trinity, and truly it is what nourishes it. Finally, the 2 tables of the law in which are written the commandments of God signify what feeds the intelligence of Mary, His faith. It obeys. So the theological virtue of faith is signified by that. City Hall only wants to do the will of God, as it has meant, in its contemplation of the Trinity, but also in Scripture. We can therefore say that from every point of view Mary is the Ark of the New Covenant, but it will remain so after His birth, because never will the mystical presence of God leave her, even if the physical presence, as it is past now, will return only when she will communicate after the departure of Jesus, during the Masses made by His priest, Saint John. But this Eucharistic presence is of a different order than what it is currently carrying in its womb, namely Jesus as a child.